Well, good morning. It's almost the afternoon. We are leaving the parking lot of Devita. So I actually got to see the doctor today. I don't know, I somehow lost track of time and space and my reality, and I didn't see him, I don't think, last month. Just because I got confused. So I saw him today for about 5 minutes. He's a very good doctor. I have to say that about him, is he is so competent and to the point, and then also like positive, I did tell him I can fast, or actually Beth was all, she's fasting, and I was like, I am. But I did remind him that it's not a traditional fast. It is fasting in the fact that I really don't eat much for 2 or 3 days, but the other days I do, and yet I do end up taking my vitamin D with a piece of food, which is most likely an avocado or banana. Speaking of that, this morning I had the most amazing orange, which my friend Dina gifted me a bag of oranges, which is funny because I usually don't eat navel oranges, no offense, but they're not really the best flavored orange, and I always find that they're pretty bland even for an orange. I know my whole thing today, my vlog today must be on oranges. How weird, right? But nonetheless, I was so happy to have it, because when I got back to the apartment after taking Mr. Smokey for a walk, which, by the way, there's a bunch of chasing squirrels in my vlog today, apparently, because I don't know if I've said this before in the other videos, but what we saw was not a dog, it's actually a coyote. And this last time, this coyote was very adamant about interacting with a couple of dogs on the walk, and you could hear the ruckus in the neighborhood. So I was pretty concerned about running into it on our walk today, but we didn't see any sign of it, thank God. I ended up also not walking the neighborhood. I tried to take different paths so that Smokey doesn't get bored, because that's his highlight of the day, and you can only do so much, right? You can only go around the square block so many times before it's just boring. But the nice thing is like switch sides, or we'll go different directions so it looks like, it's a new area. And then sometimes we'll just walk all the way down Broadway to Camino Seco, turn around and come back. And I, try to give him that kind of thing. And then today it dawned on me I should cross the street and have him walk on the other side so that we can have new smells for him to smell. And last night I made gyros or heroes or griros, however you want to pronunciate them, because I'm probably butchering it. And they were delicious. I ended up buying naan because I wanted to make it, honestly. I make fry bread. I'm familiar with enough recipes to be able to figure out naan, but I was a little bit too intimidated. And then in about mid-afternoon, I got really tired. And so I ended up napping, and that just kind of destroyed my day and kind of put me on a very sleepy path. And so I did get all the dishes done, the kitchen cleaned up, but I was like, I am going to rest. I just have to rest. And so that's what I did. And I didn't get homemade naan made, but I was smart enough that morning to order a package through Fry's, and I didn't realize that I got the mini naan, so they're only maybe the size of your hand, maybe slightly bigger. It's maybe a little bit bigger than a street taco. So anyways, that wasn't going to work. So I had to call Donnie on his way home from work and be like, could you go for Fry's? I have naan for me, but I don't necessarily have naan for you, and hop in. So could you please, pick some up? And he did, of course, and the bigger size, which come two to a package, which the mini size comes like 4 to a package, 6 to a package, something like that. So anyways, and then at Costco the other day, we got lamb. And it's already cooked. You just heat it up, and it heats up so fast and smells so delicious. And it comes in a package. It's only $10. And inside that package is 2 packages. So if it was really just me and Donnie, we could eat just one of the little packages. But since I had Ben, and Ben loves lamb, then I went ahead and did it all. I sliced up some onion and some tomato, and I made that sauce, that creamy sauce, whatever it is. Donnie loves that sauce. It does take, at least to me, in my opinion, it does take a little getting used to, but now that I've made it, I can understand why those flavors are those flavors. You do have like fresh dill, fresh parsley, which dill can be a powerhouse flavor. And then you have like the lemon juice in it. So it's with Greek yogurt, and Greek yogurt is an acquired taste, I think, only because we're just not really used to it. Like, we're more used to probably more Hispanic flavored ring things. But I was very proud of myself that I made that sauce, and so I put it all together. So you have to excuse my kitchen, because right now I'm just so tired. My stove's a little bit on the filthy side. But I am making homemade gyros, whatever you want to call them. And I always get much debate over it. I did not make these, I'm just heating them up. But I have the tiki sauce here, or whatever it's called. The meat there, and then some of the fixings over here, and I even let Smokey have a little bit of the lamb. So hopefully he'll be okay and his tummy won't get upset. God. So that whole meal ended up being really, really good, and I'm glad that I had ventured out into that. And Ben was funny because he's like, "Really, Mom?" And I'm like, "Smokey deserves lamb." And he was like, "Wow, Smokey eats better than I do." And I'm like, "That's not true. You're getting a whole bunch of lamb. He's just getting a little bit." So I was a little bit watching him last night to make sure he wasn't going to get an upset stomach. Smokey, not Ben. And Smokey did fine. This morning, though, he is really ready for a walk. So I think but it's his exciting time, you know, in the morning. It's nice and cool. He can be outside. But again, I was so thankful we did not run into that coyote or cats or rabbits. But we were able to have a really nice stroll. And I want to say we started late at 5:30, and I think we're done about like 6:10. The weather, you could tell, was slowly heating up. But right now, I want to say it's a very chilly 92 in Tucson. So it's just a nice relief to get the break from the direct heat. I have not dyed my hair yet, which I'm thinking when I go home today, and I need to do my next exchange. And I did my first exchange at 6:30 so that I could do my second exchange at 9:30 in time for me to have time to do the whole thing so that I could come to my appointment and not feel so rushed. Because typically my exchange, my second one, is going to be at 10 o'clock. So I wanted to make sure that I had that taken care of. And then I wasn't sure how long the appointment would take because I was a little bit like, well, I haven't seen him in a while, the doctor. So maybe I need to have more time. But he said my lab work was great. And I'm so happy because I was a little concerned that by fasting, I might not have good results. And that's always the goal, regardless of what I want to do. I have to make sure that my lab results are really positive and good. The big negative on that, though, is that I'm not eating enough potassium, and even taking my potassium pills, which I hate. My score rate level is very low. It's at the very bottom. I think Beth says it's like 3.2, 3.5, and that's like the lowest. She said that it's pretty much allowed to be. But what's interesting is I'm not having cramps. I don't want to risk cramping the health of my body overall, and then also my heart, because potassium deals with all of that. So I haven't had any cramping. I haven't had any heart palpitations of any sort. So I don't know. I feel really good, and so I'm just kind of gonna keep going along. And then I just have to make sure that when I do take my vitamin D with my food item, that I definitely take my potassium as well, because I need to make sure I get that back up as much as I can, as much as I am in control of. So that I guess in a sense was a negative, because that's important, but not enough to be like, well, you can't fast, because I think there's a weird balance. Like, if I eat anything I want whenever I want, I just continually gain weight because I'm not active enough to burn it off. I'm too tired, so I can't burn it off, which sounds weird, but it's just the way it is. And so being 2 years on this now, that's the cycle. And so fasting is definitely good for your body, because it helps you rebalance those things that are way out of control, and it helps to deplete the extra stuff you're not getting rid of. But again, listening and being very in tune with your body is going to be the winner in the end. So when my body's like, man, you are so hungry. Like the other day I was going to fast. I think it was Tuesday. I was going to fast. And I felt fine until about 11 o'clock. And I felt like, I did feel a little nauseous. And I felt like I was going to, I don't know. I don't want to say I felt like I was going to pass out, but kind of. And then I also just, the hunger pains were so intense, and that usually doesn't happen to me. So I went ahead and ate a popsicle because that's what I do to kind of trick my mind into being like satisfied. But it wasn't the popsicle. In about 10 minutes, I was still the same. And so I was like, okay, I do definitely get a positive from eggs. And so I just went ahead and made like an egg toast thing, and it was so good. And I feel like about an hour after that, I was just like 100% back to great. So I think whatever happened I got depleted, and then I was able to be okay just by eating that, and then not like rushing to eat anything else. Like, oh my God, what am I going to have for dinner? What am I going to have for a snack? What am I going to, it's like retraining my mind to just be satisfied with what I'm satisfied with, and then not overextending that, because I could easily, in those moments, you can so easily like run to Burger King and grab a Whopper and fries, because you're like, I'm starving, my body needs this. And I can understand why people do it, but the important thing is to not do it and to try to cook at home, even though it's not a delicious Whopper, let's say. I don't know. Again, if you're in Tucson, it's a beautiful day, but still drink your water. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching.